Namaste. I am a Merca Pratada. I am a foolish phantom. I have two illusions for you to consider yet again. Zastrakopa, Sword Fury. Zunia Void. Now, these may sound like unfamiliar illusions to you, but they're actually probably more familiar than you might think. Zunia Void. When you are in the flow of things, and you act without thinking. Often when you're driving, when you're doing your job, repetitive motions. You tune out, and you flow. The other, it's a little more complicated than that. And this is more complicated than that, still. But, I do need to explain this. So, if there is a candle inside of the void, that is Zastrakopa. It was explained to me once when I was still a Jiva. That as void is action without emotion. Karma Vina. Oh, Karma di Vina. Zunia, Karma di Vina Samasti. Void is action without thought. So Zastrakopa, Sword Fury. Zastrakopa Karma. I don't remember the word for it. Emotion, Vina, Samasti. Sword Fury is action without emotion. I can tell you of a time when I was told by another, when I was still a Jiva, that I experienced Sword Fury. The word he used for it was the fugue. It was after I had experienced being in a car accident. I was driving southbound in the middle lane in a snowstorm. The left lane was unplowed. I had someone tailgating me. I started signaling to move into the right lane. I started moving into the right lane. They passed me. I moved to correct myself back to the middle lane. I caught the snow, and I impacted to T-bone the divider between the intersections. I remember distinctly watching the airbag deploy in front of me and smelling a very specific smell. And then I was facing northbound on the southbound lane of the highway in what was technically the passing lane, though it was full of snow. I assessed myself. I was not hurt. I unbuckled my safety belt. I tried to turn on the car just to see if it would work. Noted it would not. Tried one more time. Gave up. Then I tried the door. It didn't open at first. I considered I might be truly screwed. I shouldered it. It opened. I grabbed a few things. And I might have ended up returning to the car later. I believe I gathered everything at once, though, including my phone. I went back to the side of the road, called my brother, explained what was happening. Oh, Very clearly, I remember when I was walking from one side of the highway to the other. I looked north, in the direction traffic would have been coming from. I could see alarmingly far, in retrospect. Like, I'm pretty sure I could see farther than I normally could. But, unfortunately, you'll just have to take my word for it. It is, after all, Mamakatho. And I am, after all, just Frittata. However, I can be wrong. I've already said some rather far-fetched things, like I remember watching the airbag deploy. That is something that most Jiva actually can't physically see, from what I understand. However, as far as I understand, our brains also record literally everything. So it's all a question of how quickly you're able to view what's going on in your mind's eye at the given time. As far as I understand it, at least. I looked north. I walked to the side of the road. I called my brother. I tried to establish that he was awake enough, because I woke him up, to be able to understand what I was saying. I then conveyed as quickly as I could, but as clearly as I could, exactly what had happened to me. Then informed him that I was about to start freaking out soon, and said, "All right, please come get me. I'm about to start freaking out now, so I'm going to get going." And then I sat down, and I began to freak out. That is the interesting about Zastrocope, as far as I understand it. Once the adrenaline rush of being in a fight or flight situation in which you have to do something that might determine your survival, and you have come to a place where you no longer have to make decisions like that, there is a very, very strong toll on your body. I slept for like 2 days after that, off and on. Not because of the accident, but as I understand it, because of the Zastrocopa thereafter. Have you experienced the flame or the void? What would it be like to experience both? To be able to act with neither thought nor emotion. And if you did so, how would that actually work? Seriously, that sounds like a neat trick. I'd like to figure out how to do it. If you have any ideas, let me know, because that sounds pretty neat. But after all, it's not like I have to. It's not like you have to. After all, I'm just a Merca Frittata. I am but a foolish fish.